Hello and welcome to the People's Rose.
Hi.
I'm Jared.
I'm Brooke.
And we're a married couple who loves reality TV in a very healthy way. And we are podcasting live. Just kidding. Whenever you're listening to it, we're recording this podcast about reality TV, which we love to talk about, and we hope you love listening to us talk about. And it was another great week of reality TV. We're going to be talking about The Bachelorette, which wasn't, that was the Men Tell All. We watched it so you didn't have to.
Yeah.
We're going to be talking about another great episode of Claim to Fame. We've got Brooke's Tea, Brooke's Buzz, Brooke's Reality Check-In, the Yet to Be Named Brooke segment. And we'll check in a little bit with Big Brother and maybe even a reality TV strike. Did we start this podcast at the exact wrong time? We'll find out. But like we said, we're starting off with The Bachelorette. And this is the Men Tell All episode this week.
Boring.
Super boring. These are rarely entertaining, I would say. These are rarely make sure we just gotta watch that, make sure we see it.
Well, and it was so obvious that they were just trying to fill the week. In years past they've tagged it on to an hour after the episode.
Right.
I think they needed to fill in a full 2 hours this week.
We're in writer's strike land.
Yeah, and so it was let's throw in a segment on the Golden Bachelor.
Which I appreciate. I appreciated the Golden Bachelor.
That I did appreciate.
It could have just been that.
Okay, but the old Bachelorettes, come on.
Okay, well, hold on. You're naming the parts that I liked. I didn't like... Okay. The parts I didn't like were they addressed the beef of some guy. Okay, let's just go linearly.
Okay.
Point is, you probably didn't watch it, but you get to hear what we thought about it because we watched it. So it's the Men Tell all the men from the season gathered together to talk about the season. It's pretty funny. I was watching it. They're basically podcasting about the season, and we're podcasting about their podcast. But it was charity season, and the men came back, some of the men, to talk about it in a roundtable group discussion with Jesse, our host. And so it's just a bunch of boring stuff to start off with. They immediately jumped into continuing the Braden Sean argument. I thought we were done with Braden on this show, but I forgot about this.
He's forever in Bachelor Nation now.
Yeah, it's so clear that the producers like him a lot too. Okay, so they jumped straight.
He's the only one that was invited up to the couch other than Xavier, right?
Right. And then aside from that, and no, he wasn't invited to the couch, was he? He wasn't invited up to the couch. He wasn't. And so before Jesse got there, but I don't know if that even really counts. Before Charity got there.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
that does count.
Okay,
that's
so
they literally got him up there and then they showed a clip of him already in paradise.
Right. But I guess what I'm saying, I get what you're saying, but I guess what I'm thinking, what really counts as hot seat is whether he's sitting up there with Jesse or where he was. It didn't really matter. What makes it the hot seat is when the lead is there.
Well, yeah.
And they have to sit right next to the lead.
Unless you're Sean.
Right.
And you just invite yourself up there.
Which was
And Jesse is get back to your seat, you idiot.
It was just, he's trying to stick around. He's trying, and he'll probably be on Paradise.
Oh, for sure.
He'll probably get some more 15 minutes of fame to finish it off, but I do not care. But I also didn't really care about Braden, but it's so clear, like you said, that the producers want to address this. They jump straight into what was wrong, I guess, with Braden to the guys of the whole season. They just continue the argument where it left off.
Continuation.
You could see there were some guys that were ready to stick up for him. I don't know if these were guys that had been in Paradise with them.
Who?
Some guys that stuck up for him.
I know who.
Andrew said, it's not that big a deal. And then Xavier at times was playing the fence on both sides.
Yeah, true.
There was some...
I think that was more so about Xavier wanting to, right his wrongs and...
Right. And so, yeah, no, you're right. And so then Braden, not only that, but he just got a lot of screen time. I think they're just trying to rehab his image because they showed a clip of him on Paradise, but it wasn't a drama clip. It was a clip of him and Kat kissing and saying she likes him and that he's a good guy, only good qualities. And then when Gerry was a heartfelt, good feeling segment. They kept showing clips of Brayden laughing and being like, see, he's a good guy, he's encouraging and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying he's a bad guy. I'm sure that he's a great guy. No, I actually don't. I'm not sure that he's a great
what?
guy. Well, I'm just saying, benefit of the doubt. I'm sure he's not an evil monster.
Well, yeah, probably not.
So they just are clearly trying to rehab his image and get us back on his good side, but it was mostly just.
But I don't understand why, because they've had villains in Paradise before and without doing all of that.
Well, that's what I said. I don't think the producers want him to be a villain. I said they're trying to rehab his image. They don't want a villain in Paradise, and they want us to like him because the producers like him. I think it's clear. But
why?
Well, they know him. We don't know him. He's just a TV character to us. And so I'm saying okay, think of it this way. Brayden is friends with the producers. Right? They like him.
Sure.
Why would they continue to cast him in a bad light? You know, if you were friends with, if your they're coworkers. If your coworkers, you and I are friends and you had a great rapport, and they're like, yeah, we had to air that footage of all the guys that hated you, but we're gonna turn it around. Trust us, Brooke. We're gonna I'll show them all your good side. We're gonna show them your good qualities. You got a bad rap. We really like you. We don't think it was fair how you got treated. Here, we'll show you all the good stuff.
So it's more about them, the producers thinking that the house guests were not treating him fairly.
No, I don't even know if they care, because it's just it's just a TV show. I'm just saying they might like him for whatever reasons. They might think, oh, we like this character better if he's fun, lovable, goofy golden retriever. He got described as a golden retriever on the show. They did everything they could to not talk about his negative qualities. They even, before they went to commercials, we tried to find footage of Brayden calling her classless, and there is none. That's what I'm saying. It was obvious that they're making a concerted effort to rebrand him as this villain guy and just said, oh no, he's understood. This is our lovable puppy.
I see what you're saying.
And I can only assume it's because they don't like Brendan maybe isn't the villain character. Maybe he never got casted to be a villain and they're like, we wanted this puppy dog, golden retriever character. Okay. Let's try to do that now. That's all I'm saying.
That's valid. And maybe you're right. I think you're onto something with maybe they cast him to be like a fun-loving guy.
Right.
Maybe like a Deanie Babies guy.
Okay.
But okay, no, we're still not.
No, I just still don't see that conversation. But go ahead, continue.
But I'm just saying that they have let villains be villains before and then still sent them into Paradise as villains. But so why is he being held differently?
Okay. Well, think about it. Those people that were villains, they didn't like and didn't care and were fine with them. I know,
but why do they like Brendan? Brayden, whatever his name is.
Why do you like your friends?
Well,
they're your friends.
Okay.
That's all I think it is. I just think that they like Brayden.
Okay, it's just baffling to me.
Right. But, okay, so we got a lot of Brayden time, and he fought with the people upstairs. It's really not even worth covering because it was just a rehash. If you want to hear about what they talked about, just go to our earlier podcast and re-listen to those. Brayden called out a few people, a little light stuff, but it really wasn't that much. They moved on to Sean. Remember, Brayden called him a butt chin during the season. And, Sean actually just seemed kind of, not conniving, slimy. He clearly wanted more airtime.
Yeah.
He clearly wanted attention. He clearly wanted to be seen.
Right.
And I think he seems to be more of the guy people should, if anything, not be interested in seeing more TV of. But
yeah, I do agree with on.
Yeah, he was fighting to get his TV time in. And it's really, again, I know we're supposed to be talking about it, but I don't even know what to say. They continue to argue about old stuff in the show. They really wanted to continue to argue about how cocky he was being after the Barbie date. And not each guy, but the guys on that date had a lot to say about that. And, you came in and did that. But it's just like, guys, really? Come on.
Right.
So, okay, after that, then the show got, I don't know if I would say dramatic, a little weird. They addressed this guy who was there, who got evicted night one. There's always one at these reunions that everyone, including the cast, is like, who are you? I barely remember you.
Yeah.
But they pretended to not remember this guy. His name was Peter. But
I don't remember him.
They all hated him.
They all hated him. I'm wondering if it was one of those things where it was, and you would probably know this though, but if it was one of those like Reddit threads that like blew up about like, why are all the guys posting F Peter in the corner of their picture?
Well, they didn't say it. Just said F, the letters F.
Oh, sorry,
and the letter
P. Yeah. And then, like, they made the connection, and then it all started to come out and unravel type of thing. You know what I'm saying?
No, I don't even know. I don't know if it ever came out. Maybe it did.
No, but because Jesse was like, some of you may have seen on social media this conspiracy, I thought.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure it was just I mean, I never heard of it. And
I didn't either.
I think we kind of keep up with it.
True.
But I didn't heard it. But I guess the people who really keep up with it noticed and put it together. But I guess he was rude and just clearly seeking attention.
And he was asking about like
who's here
endorsements.
For the wrong way. Yeah, they said he was on the show for 15 minutes.
Yeah,
and already asking about endorsements and trying to start a Zoom group chat to become influencers and stuff. So they all hated him. Even some of the guys we consider to be like the better guys, the Dottons, the Joeys, all had the letters F and P in their, what she's talking about, Instagram captions in their initial post for the show.
And they were all like, it was an inside joke. It was an inside joke. It was never meant to get out. It's
right,
like,
which is kind of like, that's not how you apologize.
Right.
It wouldn't have been a big deal if nobody knew about it.
Yeah, that's what I was like, Xavier, just dial it back.
Yeah.
He was Xavier, like, it was never meant to come out. Well, duh. Of course not.
The less he talks, the better for Xavier. Yeah, every time he opened his mouth to further explain something, it was like, wait, actually, now I have more questions.
Unfortunately, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just, I guess let's just jump to Braden. To Xavier, because we covered Braden, we covered Peter and Sean, and it just seemed like a lot of it was going to be focused on Xavier. I mean, that was a last episode that happened with Charity and his breakup. And you would think maybe he would have thought about a way to better articulate what he said. He did come out and first thing say, hey, I denounce cheating, which like, yeah, duh. You know what I mean? Right. No one's going to get on TV and say like, I am pro cheating. And he kind of said that the reason he couldn't give her full commitment is because when he had said, I loved you to her on the previous hometown date, she didn't say it back. So he was hesitant to fully commit until they could talk. And he said in camera, with the cameras off, and get confirmation of her side and her feelings. But I think Charity made it very clear to him as much as she could where she stood. But now that I think about it, she has told Joey and Dotton that she's falling. And I don't know if she's given as much to Xavier because she's holding back. But it just still really he didn't do a great job of explaining why he couldn't just say like, I want to commit to you and I do not want to cheat on you and I want to see where this goes. Yeah. That's all he had to say. She was begging him to say.
Right. And she was like, I straight up asked you, are you confident that you won't do it again? Do you trust yourself? And he could not say, yes, I trust myself. I'm not going to do that again. And so she was like, why would I put myself in that situation?
Exactly. It just wasn't as much as Xavier was trying to make it emotional, because I do believe him when he said that abrupt ending to a relationship. He said he needed to get therapy for it. He said it hurt him for quite a bit, and I believe that. But I could tell he was trying to, whether purposefully or whatever, for whatever reason, was playing up that emotional aspect of it and that heartbreak. But it's also just kind of like, yeah, you kind of brought this on yourself. And Charity so clearly moved on.
Right.
That was, I think, a theme of Charity when she came out. she wasn't like, Brayden, I got so much to say to you after I watched the show, or Sean, it was just kind of like, I moved on. I didn't like what you did.
I did sense a little bit of anger in her talking to Xavier, though.
She definitely felt angry with Xavier, but it didn't feel. Sometimes you get the anger, and it's like almost there's sadness because she wishes the relationship was still there.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I think it was more just she felt played and was like, I don't appreciate feeling played.
Right.
But I didn't feel any lingering connections, or which we're seeing in the previews that she's really indecisive about her future. But now it seems like she's happy, I would say, and wasn't in the mood to hold or harbor too much resentment or, what is that word called? Resentment, or it's not guilt.
Ill will?
Yeah, but no, it's when you have a grudge.
A grudge.
She's not really holding grudges. It just seems like she's moved on.
Yeah.
Right? Which I appreciate. And, I mean, she had that attitude with Xavier. She talked to Tanner really quick. Tanner was really nice and respectful. Didn't have questions. John, same thing. Sean, we already talked about, invited himself up there for no reason, just to say she's a great person, which didn't really make sense. Even Brayden and her's conversation didn't turn into anything. It was just kind of like, yeah, I didn't like it, but I appreciated our connection. I'm glad we moved on. They both seemed that. And Xavier, back to his, tried to end it all with he knitted her a rose and gave it to her for some reason.
Okay, why are you so against that when you, might I remind you, call back to our last episode.
Right. If you haven't watched, to know what she's talking about, if you haven't watched our special Big Brother premiere podcast, or listened to it, I said watch, from last week, it's the episode before this one. Go to the end of that episode to hear about our love story and to know what Brooke's talking about.
Okay.
And we'll leave them on a cliffhanger with that. But the reason I think what I did is different is because I didn't wait for you to break up with me, us be broken up for 6 months, and then come back on TV and give you a knitted rose.
Okay, valid. Like, what was she supposed to do with that?
Yeah,
why would she even keep that?
She's engaged.
I know.
To one of his friends. You know what I mean?
I thought it was cute.
No, I don't think it's cute. I think it's manipulative. Him playing up. Remember, I have a softer side, America. I knit. This is a knitted rose. He wants people. He wants this reaction that you're giving.
Well,
see, exactly. It works.
I got it.
He wants America to be like, "Oh my gosh, he knitted her a rose." When I'm over here, like, okay, bro, we peep game. We know what's up.
Okay.
So I just thought that was dumb. I mean,
it's
a nice gesture, but this is what happened. He gave a romantic gift to his ex. That's all that happened.
True.
If while we were engaged, if one of your exes was like, Brooke, I just wanted, we had this inside
I would
thing.
be like, no, thank you.
That's all I'm saying. That's all it is.
You're right. You're right.
So we got some bloopers, which are okay. Jesse was announcing the bloopers this time around. That's what I knew. I was like, y'all are really trying to stretch this one out.
Really trying to stretch it
Normally it's just a blooper reel, but Jesse's like, in this blooper, we prank them. Roll tape. So that was just kind of a pass. But okay, now we'll get to the segment that you said like was fluff.
Yeah, talk to me about what you liked about this segment with the old Bachelorettes. We had Trista,
they said
Desiree, and Deanna.
Yeah, it's been 20 years since the original Bachelorette aired.
Okay.
And so to not have Trista come back on the show in any capacity, I think would have been an oversight.
Okay, that is valid because they also have now been married for 20 years. Right. You're right. That is a big milestone.
And Desiree is a Bachelorette who's continuing on in her relationship, has 2 kids.
True.
That's another success story.
True.
But then you've also got Deanna, who isn't with her final pick in a kind of, if you'll have to look into the history of Deanna, if you're listening and don't know, but is still like confident in who she is and confident in who she's changing to be, to show that she hasn't just let the failure of the show to find
That's
her.
true. Kind of like a inspiration or like an encouragement in case it doesn't work out for you.
Right. So they didn't just bring in 3 recent bachelorettes to be like, remember these 2? These better seasons? They brought in like history. They brought in, and these women are, it's almost like they were welcoming Charity into the fold, saying, hey, you're about the end of the season. It's about to go and strong, but this is what a successful marriage can look like. This is what a successful family can look like. This is what being a confident woman after the show is aired can look like. And we have your back. Didn't you just watch Barbie, Brooke? Girl power. You know what I mean?
Okay, you're right.
So I enjoyed them bringing her into the sorority of bachelorettes and saying we have your back and giving her insight. And regardless of TV show, or reality TV or not, Trista's been married 20 years now in a similar fashion that Charity wants to be. So just giving that advice. And yeah, it was boilerplate advice that, what'd she say? Just forgive your partner every day, which is good advice though, still.
Yeah.
So that's what I liked it. That's what I like about the show, is that it can still be genuine and then not be corny. Because that's the kind of stuff, the energy I want them to bring to Golden Bachelor.
Yeah.
Yes, we're going to get drama. The contestants can manufacture that. But can you bring those situations of, hey, this show is about love. Let me remind you.
True.
So it was good to see them. I remember watching Trista's season.
I didn't watch Trista or Deanna, but I definitely watched Desiree.
Yeah. And speaking of the Golden Bachelor, this led right into Gerry. We are so pumped for Gerry.
Gerry, he's such a sweet zaddy, grand zaddy.
Yeah.
I was dying laughing when Jesse was like, look at all this social media stuff about you, and he was like, I don't really use social media.
Right.
And then one of the tweets was just all caps, grand zaddy.
Right.
And then he was like, later on, he was like, I'm just looking for that girl who wants me to be their grand zaddy.
Right.
I thought that was so great.
Yeah, that was something.
You didn't like it?
No, I think Zaddy's kind of played to me.
Oh my gosh, Jared.
I've always been out on Zaddy. But Gerry is a very nice, upstanding gentleman. A grand, upstanding gentleman.
Grandfather.
So anyways, so we saw the promos for him, but we got even more in-depth look into Gerry's life. 71 years old. He's a widower from Indiana. He had 43 years of marriage with his first wife, his high school sweet.
Such a sweet, sentimental story.
Right, Tony, and it was beautiful.
They bought right before she passed. They had bought a house they wanted to retire in, and it was like on the lake.
Right,
Very beautiful.
And it was sad to see him, 6 years later, still be just as emotional about the death of the love of his life.
But you know what? I thought he had such a great, like when Jesse was talking to him about the process and everything, he was like, no one's going to replace her.
Right.
Like, that's not what this is about. And then he was like, and I won't even compare love stories because that is its own individual love story, and whatever comes is going to be it in itself its own individual love story. And I was like, that is someone who has grieved and has learned and who is on the up and up.
Yeah, it definitely seemed to have been aided in that process by his 2 daughters and granddaughters, who we know from previous promos signed him up to be on the show. And I really think they picked the right guy. The casting and production team picked the right guy. He seems funny. He seems lighthearted.
But he also seems serious and sentimental.
Right, but not in a serious way that's not going to be interesting for TV, is what I'm trying to say. So, he seems like a great guy. He was cracking jokes with the men on the stage and the audience. He didn't seem to be shy from the attention, but not also be craving the attention. It's just going to be a good season from him as a lead. I'm really hoping they cast it equally well for his women. Do you think they're going to have, what tropes do you think they're going to be pulling out? What's the youngest age of women do you woman you think they're going to put on this show for him? He's
gosh.
71.
I hope no one younger than like 60.
I think at a 71, that 60 should be the absolute floor.
Same.
And even that is like, that's some distance.
Yeah. Yeah.
I would hope it's like closer to that 60, 65 plus.
Yeah.
Actually, 71 isn't too bad now that I'm really thinking about it. But well, I just hope they're in similar stages of life.
Same.
Because what could happen is this could turn bad, and they cast a 35-year-old.
Not a chance.
You know, to be, because on previous seasons, on Ari's seasons of The Bachelor, he was what, 40 something?
No.
How old was Ari?
I think he was like 38.
Okay, that's 40 something. Heads up. And then they casted a 20-year-old. Remember? I forgot her name, but a 20-year-old on his season.
They did?
Yes.
Like just 20? Straight up 20?
Yeah, she was super young, and he couldn't see herself being ready. She had the short hair.
Oh, 21 Becca.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. That's true, but that's what...
So if he's 38, she's 21.
That's 17 years. Yeah, that's weird.
You know what I'm saying?
That is weird.
So I'm hoping it's not one of those things where like, hey Gary, you know, do you want to be a...
But remember when Deanna was up there and she was like, I'm single. Let me know if you need a bachelorette for the Golden Bachelorette.
And they were like, you got a long ways to go.
Yeah, and I looked up her age. She's 41.
Okay, that's good.
So
that's good. But okay, what else might I do? Are they going to pick someone who is a grandmother? Because let's really think about this for the women. These are also likely to be grandmothers with extended families, kind of entrenched where they live. You know what I mean? Are they going to up and move to him and his ex-wife? I mean, to his deceased wife's dream house in Indiana? These are kind of complex,
that's a good question.
Things.
I was also wondering too, like, is there gonna be like some older women like to party? Like, is there gonna be like the typical like party fun time girl?
Well, you know, he likes to party. I think they showed him at a bar, and they showed him playing pickleball. They showed him not on a jet ski, on an ATV of some kind. So I think he wants someone who will keep him active. He is not looking for the rocking chair ending. But yeah, we're excited about that. They got the clips from that. We got previews from Charity Season, but it really wasn't too much footage we hadn't seen before. They just showed us a lot more of her and her mom going back and forth, and her mom being like, you have to make a decision.
Yeah, like, I cannot make this decision for you. But it does make it clear that she allows Aaron to stay a little longer.
We see them kissing. We see them on a date.
I found it so... watching them Tell All reminded me of just how annoyed and really rude he was to Brayden when Brayden came back.
Exactly.
And then he had the audacity to do the same thing and come back.
Exactly. I thought the exact same thing. It just doesn't make sense.
No.
And for him to be like, I'm so happy I can't... Oh, let me not make voices. For him to be like, oh yeah, I'm so happy I came back. And the same way Brayden did is, I think, just shows you how big his blind... he has big of a blind spot he has for that situation.
Yeah. You know, they didn't show in this preview Charity sitting outside the hotel room going, he's not taking no for an answer. He says he won't leave.
Right.
I wonder if that's one of those things that is just like actually not going to make it in the cut, or if we are going to see that.
I think they're going to show it. I just might not be as dramatic as... Well, that is pretty dramatic. There's no way to spin that as not dramatic. So, no, it's going to be interesting in the season. I never understand the leads, how they act so indecisive at this point of the stage, because it's like you're gonna get engaged.
Yeah.
You're going to pick some one of these people, and you want them to be watching on TV a few months from now. You know, Terrence saying this hard decision of your life. I can't pick one. I pick one and might regret it. You know what I mean? Do you want them to have those thoughts? If I were on that show, even if I was feeling that way, I would not make it so dramatic. Oh my gosh, is it gonna be Brooke or Beyonce? I just don't know.
Well, that's easy. It would be Brooke.
Right, so I would just be like, man, I know exactly who I'm picking, even if in my mind, secretly off camera, I'm like, oh my gosh.
Oh my
I just wanted to say, I just
gosh.
would want the person I eventually pick to have some assuredness that I actually picked them, and then just flip a coin a few minutes before the limo arrived.
Yeah, that is true. But she was, as she said, being her true, authentic self 100%. And so I guess to her, showing all of that is part of that.
Okay.
But it is true. Like, I don't know how you really could be that conflicted.
Right.
I mean, I guess, I don't know.
Right. Well, we'll see. Okay. Some other things going on in the reality world. We don't have much before we get to Brooke's Corner, Brooke's Tips, Brooke's long thought out segment. But I do want to say, rest in peace to Anna's time on Project Runway All-Stars, whatever number it is.
It was so fun. Well, I shouldn't say funny, but we're watching this episode and I'm like, you know what? I think it's going to be like it's been. The judges are going to be like, hey, we're glad you stepped out of the box. This is great. This is a look.
Right.
And you were like, of doing your thing of, oh no, this is her time to go. This is her week to go. And then
it was actually her week to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, she made it, she made it pretty far, further than a lot of people thought she might. And although this was not the outfit I think she should have gone home on, in the grand scheme of things, it might have been her time to go, which is probably what the judges were considering. So, Anna, we loved you. If we ever have a People's Rose designing competition, you're invited. Okay, we've arrived at another segment that everybody's been waiting on. Our yet to be named segment, but right now I just recalling Brooke's reality check-in. We still don't have a name for it yet.
Okay, everybody, TLC has entered the chat, okay? So, I have watched a variety of TLC reality shows. I go off and on. 90 Day Fiancé. It's just, there's so many branches now. It's so hard to keep up.
Yeah.
But also it can feel a little bit exploitative, right?
It definitely is, for sure.
So, I don't know. I watch on and off. However, 90 Day Fiancé, The Last Resort, has just started, and I've been seeing some clips here and there on TikTok, and they almost got me. Okay. Now, it does seem very produced, even more so than 90 Day Fiancé.
Yeah.
But it also sounds like they're spilling some real tea.
Yeah, but also it's like you were saying on the producers, half of those people are just career TLC people at this point, right?
Well, yes, true. Yeah. And I feel like the Last Resort, if these people, they're probably scared of breaking up because then what do they have?
Right.
They make money off of their messed up relationship on TV, on TLC.
It's their source of income.
Right. So, I mean, I don't know how that's going to play out, but I probably will catch a few eps.
Okay, gotcha.
Now, Sister Wives is also getting ready to come back, and we are going to get the fallout, the end of Cody and Janelle and Cody and Mary.
Okay.
So that is gonna be pretty interesting. Probably gonna tune into that.
You're saying this is the end of the show or just the end of those?
Oh no, just the end of the relationship.
Okay, gotcha.
Last season we saw the end of the end of his relationship with Christine.
Yeah.
And now we're seeing the end of 2 other housewives.
Yeah.
Which leaves him, or not housewives, sorry, sister wives.
Same difference.
No.
They are housewives.
Well,
I get what you're
not
saying.
really. They all kind of worked. But anyway, but yeah, so we're going to see 2 of them leaving. And then then there was one.
Yeah.
Mary. No, sorry. What's her name? Robin.
Yeah.
Robin.
Yeah.
The last one standing.
Uh-huh.
All right. Moving on to Real Housewives. RHONY. All right. Real Housewives of New York.
Is that how it's pronounced? RHONY?
Yeah. That's what the, girlies call it. RHONY is in full swing.
Uh-huh.
I'm really liking the new cast.
Right.
Okay. But Aaron, one of them, Aaron, is becoming problematic.
How so?
Well, I won't say problematic, but she's like having trouble getting along with everybody.
Yeah.
I didn't see her as somebody who was going to be like the villain per se.
Right.
But she's like really struggling to get along with everybody.
Okay.
So I'm curious to see how that's going to play out throughout the season.
What specifically is causing this issue with her not being able to get along with people?
I don't know. She's just like, she called someone out for her behavior. Okay, so she has a house in the Hamptons. They all came to her house in the Hamptons.
Right.
And one of the girls there was complaining a lot.
Yeah.
And so then they had like this sit down conversation, and Aaron was like, well, I just think that you've lived a very pampered life and you're used to being catered to.
Oh, we've heard that before.
And she was like, are you calling me a princess? Okay. And she was like, no, I'm just saying. So it's just things like that you're like, I don't know, Aaron. It seems like you're being a little too... Like, if she wants to complain, let her complain.
Yeah. Oh, okay. But
at the same time, I get it. Like,
isn't that the show, though, them fighting? No offense.
Well, yeah, you're right.
If it was all, them getting along, I feel like people would watch less, right?
I mean, yeah, but, I guess you're right. That's, like, kind of the thing is, like, these friends, like, not getting along.
Right.
I guess you're right. But I also want to see them, like, having fun together, too.
Okay. Take notes, Bravo.
Yeah, speaking of take notes, Bravo, update on Raquel. Okay. So...
Excuse me, update on Rachel. Isn't she
Rachel,
by Rachel
yes. Now? Well, did you saw?
I just saw the headline. I don't know much more than that.
So, I'm getting conflicting stories, okay? From one source I'm getting... This is like...
What source?
In my DMs.
Oh,
Just kidding.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
I wish.
I was like, this is de moi?
You know, I don't have my receipts, but somewhere circulating among social media, I'm seeing that she supposedly, allegedly, her and another housewife, ex-housewife...
Yeah.
Are getting ready to, quote, take down Bravo. Because they...
like they're suing them.
Yeah, for what's it called when they... Like, exploiting them, I guess? Or, like, creating a false narrative that makes them look bad.
Okay. Like you're talking, like, libel or something, or...
Yeah, something like that.
Okay.
But I'm just like, girl, let's rethink that. I mean, the lawyers and the people that Bravo has on deck?
Yeah.
That is never going to work out.
And I imagine those contracts, I was just talking about this, about Big Brother. I imagine those contracts that they sign are pretty airtight.
Oh,
it would take a lot. It would take
tight.
Out of the norm reality show producer behavior to do something, right?
Right. So, not sure how that's going to go.
Right.
But then I'm also seeing that whatever this means, I'm not quite sure, that her contract for Vanderpump Rules is still open. And so there's still a possibility that she could be returning.
Right.
So, I mean, what's that going to look like? Is it just going to be like a little tag on the end? Like, hey, I'm back. I feel like it's already too late because maybe they just started. I don't know when they started filming, but I don't know. It just seems like they're already full swing filming, so I don't know how she's gonna fit into the narrative.
Right,
However, there is another guy named, I think it's Isaac Israel or Israel Isaac, that is supposedly on the show this season. I think he does like social media for Pump or for like the restaurants.
Right.
And he's been posting on social media like, I miss you, Raquel. Come back, my friend.
Oh, I did see that. Yeah.
So that might be her way in.
Right.
If he's on the show, then maybe that's her way in of like, I'm so glad you're still my friend. You know, whatever.
Right.
So that's that on Brooke's tea.
Brooke's tea? Okay, we'll think about it. Interesting. All right, no, that was a lot of insight. We covered a lot of ground there. I hope Bravo's taking notes, and we want to see those changes too sweet.
Oh, I forgot to say this.
Yeah.
On Last Resort, 90 Day Fiance Last Resort, they have, well, I don't know if they're a licensed therapist, but they have like couples therapists. I'm available. TLC, I'm available. This can be my audition. Hire me. I would love to come on and do therapy for those couples.
Okay.
I am fully licensed.
In
and
Texas.
I will get licensed I'll do what I need to do to get licensed in California or wherever you film.
And see, this is international, so you might have to get licensed all over the planet.
Okay, well, don't know that I'm in the market to go international, but...
I see. If there's a resort, if they go to a resort... You'll go in the United States. You're ready to ready to answer the call.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm there.
All right. So we'll send out the counselor bat symbol, and you'll answer.
Yes. Perfect.
All right. Sounds good. Anything else?
No, that's all.
All right. Let's continue. All right. It is time to talk about another episode of Claim to Fame.
Woo-woo.
This one.
Drama.
Kind of turned up.
Turned up the drama. Like, started off with a bang.
Yeah, we jumped right in. Okay, so the episode starts off showing the previously on with the totality of Chris's and Gabriel's alliance and their relationship, and I'm like, okay, we're starting off with their alliance together, and we go right into the Chris telling Gabriel that he gave Carson his clue because he thought she was going home, and Gabriel was like, "Oh, it's okay, bro. Never mind. Don't worry about it, right?"
No,
Yeah. No. Of course not.
He kind of tried to play it off that way, but he was just like, "No, man. I see you for who you really are.
Right.
You made a vow to me, and you went back on it." And then he was like, he was really shaming him, is what he was doing.
He was just saying he didn't say these exact words, but the implication was, Chris, you have no class. You going back on your word shows me that you're not a man, and I'm He said this, though, I have higher morals.
Yeah.
And like, I wouldn't play the game that way, but if that's how you play, I can see that now. I'm holding up a mirror and showing you what you...
Right.
And you're like, whoa, okay.
And Chris was kind of like, dang, like, I was coming to you to tell you this because I was feeling guilty. Like, isn't that worth a little something?
And Gabriel said, well, I already do.
Yeah.
I was standing there and saw you do it.
Yeah. But then also, didn't Gabriel say something about, like, well, I think you've lived a pampered life?
Right. That's what I was about to say. So Chris is like, handling it pretty well. He's like, okay, you're mad about this. My bad. It's just how we play the game. And he actually didn't lash out too much to Gabriel's, I would say, maybe attacks or shames. But you're right. Gabriel says, oh, I'm the kind of guy who will call out this behavior, and you're not ready for that because you've lived a pampered life.
Oh, yeah. He was like, you're not used to people calling you out.
Right, because of how pampered you are. And then Mr. Osmond himself, gets up and like, how dare you?
Yeah.
How dare you?
Hot.
I'm not pampered, young sir. You're like, okay, this is sounding kind of pampered. He's like, I am not. You're just saying that I haven't had a hard life. And I'm like, yes, Chris, you haven't. Now, actually, I don't know that. Everyone has struggles and trials and tribulations.
Sure.
That is true.
Sure.
But he is also an Osmond, right?
Yeah. He probably has lived a pretty pampered life.
Also, Gabriel is related to Nick Cannon.
Well, that doesn't necessarily mean anything. Nick Cannon has 20 kids to take care of.
And if Nick Cannon can afford to take care of 20 kids, he can also afford to make sure his brother isn't destitute and homeless.
You think it's his brother?
I think so.
Oh, dang.
So,
I was thinking like cousin.
No, he said it.
I don't think they look like alike.
But he said it's his brother.
Oh, he did?
Yeah, he's been saying it since the beginning of the season.
Jared, no, he hasn't. It wasn't that. Are you talking about in like Two Truths and a Lie?
Yeah.
Well, then we don't know if that's the truth or the lie.
We do know the truth. The lie was that his brother was an athlete.
Oh.
That's why they all thought it was an athlete or Julius Peppers.
Oh.
Yeah, okay.
Fine. Whatever.
Okay. So, yeah, they just were going at it. And there really wasn't a resolution. They just walked off mad at each other.
Yeah.
And we cut to Carson and JR, who are also thinking about Chris, because they can't believe they still don't know who he is.
Oh my gosh. These people are like spiraling because they can't figure out who Chris is related to.
Right. And this just shows just how desperate they've gotten at this point. If you have yet to watch the show, Chris is an Osmond and looks like one. We'll say that, right? And they were over there thinking to themselves, okay, we know his clues. He's got colorful jackets. He's had a residency Utah. A residency in Nevada, and he's born in Utah. Maybe it's Prince. And you're like, okay.
Who did they say his acquaintances were in that Shred It challenge?
Oh, I don't remember that. I don't remember them.
Because I feel like that could maybe help them, but...
No, if you don't know who Donny Osmond is, or even if you do, okay, how would you describe Donny Osmond to someone right now without saying Donny Osmond?
I don't even know.
Right. The best you could do, I think, is 70s pop family icon.
Yeah, I think maybe if they got a clue, that he was in a family band? Wasn't he in a family band?
But I don't know why, all the time in my head, when I think of bands from the 70s, I think of the Partridge Family. You ever heard of them?
Oh, yes.
And for all I know, them and the Osmonds are one and the same. I really don't know. But that's what I'm saying. That's how foggy it is. I think if you're younger, your knowledge of the fame of Donny Osmond. And seeing how hard it is to guess Donny Osmond, I know he said this before, but I know Donnie's sitting at home like, wow, I have really, my fame is not carried over to the younger people.
Poor guy.
So what was the challenge? Right, the challenge for this week was trivia,
which Monet freaking killed it.
Great job, Monet.
Which I'm not gonna lie, I was doing pretty good on those too.
Oh yeah.
Okay, you probably got every single one right.
Oh, of course I did.
Okay.
No, she did a really good job. She needed it. She needed a win because if she was the guesser, she probably, unfortunately, would have been in a similar situation.
Right.
So as long as you're not the guesser at this point, if you're Chris or Monet, you're set because they're not guessing your clues.
Yeah.
So she got them. I think she won all rounds except for one that Carson won, and she ended up getting her clue. The only clue she didn't get was Carson's clue, who kept her clue.
Yes.
But at this point, they kind of all know that it's a Dale Earnhardt. So they're going to get that one right.
Right.
They know JR is Lil Nas X, but, spoiler alert, he was wrong and is not on the show anymore, so they don't have to worry about that.
Right.
It's just Carson, Gabriel, Monet, and Chris. And later in the show, we see Monet and JR are circling around Kel. They're circling around. They even say Nick Cannon.
Yeah.
But JR is so convinced that it's not and says no. But I think if Monet sees his clue, she'll know it's Nick Cannon.
Yeah.
So, okay, yeah. So Monet wins and JR and Gabriel on the bottom. And so they're going back and forth on who's going to be the guesser. And Carson and Monet pick JR to be the guesser because they think it's time to take another shot on Chris.
Monet and Carson are just pressuring JR.
Right.
They're like, if you guess Chris and it's not Billy Idol, then... Or if you guess Chris and it's Billy Idol, then how great is that? If not, then, at least we know. Not then you're going home.
Right. Why JR fell for that, I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know if they're all just so mad at Chris at this point because he's
I wouldn't say they're
evaded.
Mad, but they're kind of desperate. They know if they don't get Chris out, he's going to win.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, JR, becomes the guesser, picks Chris, guesses Billy Idol, and once again, he's wrong.
He's wrong, and he has to reveal his celebrity, which of course we knew, and I think most everyone knew was Lil Nas X.
Yeah.
And so he gets sent home. So,
but we forgot.
What?
Prior to that, Gabriel was up for possibly being the guesser.
Yeah, we said that, but go ahead.
Well, and so Gabriel kind of realized that he needed to get back into
an okay place
with Chris, and so they have a talk, and I was proud of him because he was like, look, to be honest, my feelings were kind of hurt that you shared my clue. Right. That's why I was acting that way.
Right.
Which I think is a good that he owned up to it a little bit.
But I also just think they're both just game playing now.
Definitely.
Chris was saying that he thinks Monet is related to Jaleel White, and that's dead wrong.
I forgot about that.
Right.
There's this clue on the board that says family is everything.
Right.
And these people have gone through countless celebrities of who that could be. Mm-hmm. When in reality, I'm wondering if it's Donny Osmond because he worked with his family.
Right, which is good from Chris because that keeps him off the family.
Right. But also, Gabe, going back to the apology thing, Gabe was like shaming Chris for not being honest when Gabe knows good and well he was getting everybody to be the guesser and guess Chris.
Exactly, both last week and this week.
Yeah.
So it's hypocrisy
in it all. Yeah.
So we saw a lot of arguing, but like real arguing and strategy another week, but I think it's still clear now who the final two are going to be. I just don't see it being any other people but Monet and Chris.
Definitely. And
so we're going to get a final challenge. It's going to come down to who's going to have to guess and who's going to be safe in that final week, and that's who's going to win the show.
Right.
Whoever guesses is going to lose because I don't think either of them are going to guess each other's clue.
I don't think so either.
Short of them putting up a clue for Chris that says, starts with a D, first name D, last name starts with a O.
Yeah.
And short of it being Monet's clue rhymes with PB flu. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Something super obvious.
Yeah.
So I think it'll be interesting to see how it all plays out.
Yeah,
who's going to win it all.
Agreed.
Speaking of similar shows to that one, we had another week of Big Brother. We aren't going to get to talk about it too much. We'll probably do like we did last week, have another Thursday episode right after the live, because at this point, since Brooke and I are live feeders, which are free this season on Pluto TV if you don't want to pay for them. We're not, thank goodness. Thank God. That we're not going to get into it too much because we're ahead since we know what's happening on the live feeds of the show at this point. But we can do a little Showmance check-in. We do know Sunday's episode that Hisum is the HOH, and so it'll be interesting, we know. But for those who don't want to be spoiled, we're not going to spoil you. What directions his nominations of Riley and Cameron go this week. But we do have, I guess, some Showmance watch news. Brooke, where we stand in the Showmance in the Big Brother 25 house?
So currently we are getting a little bit of flirtmance from Jared and Blue. Which, if you remember, I said I could see Blue getting into a relationship with somebody.
Yeah, you did.
Didn't necessarily think it would be Jared, but Jared is like, I don't know, because my mom's in the house. He's like
right.
not really wanting to go full force.
Right.
Full blown.
It's still only in Flirtman's territory. He calls her Boo instead of Blue sometimes. My Boo. And then like, oh, they've even jokingly said, oh, I like you and stuff like. It's really like middle school class stuff. You know,
yeah.
That stuff. Or at lunch flirting. Who I think Riley and Matt are close. But if they're going to turn into a Showmance, it's going to need some time because they're still kind of just in the lounge in the pool.
But when
hammock.
they were in the hammock, he had his hand on her leg, and I was like, no. If you were in that house and some girl was putting her hand on your leg, I would be on a flight to LA flying a flag above the fence. Stop touching my man.
Well, yeah, so that's what I'm saying. It's at that stage, but Riley is scrambling because she's on the block, and
yeah, true.
Matt, unfortunately, they still aren't really. I feel like the house guests still have forgotten sometimes that he is sleight of hearing, and so they just need more time to connect. I haven't seen much of anything else. I think Cameron has a crush on Riley, but who cares? Who knows what's going on with him? We'll talk about it Thursday.
Okay.
And that's it, I think, for Showmance to watch, right, Brooke? Okay, well, we're going to end it there. We appreciate you guys for listening to us another week. If you want more Big Brother info, please listen to us Thursday. We are excited for that live episode recap that we'll be doing then. Be sure to rate and review us on whatever platform you listen to us on. If you enjoy this show, if you don't enjoy this show, don't do that, but listen anyway. You can follow us on social media. We're the People's Rose just about everywhere. You can listen to us online at peoplesrose.com. You can just, make People's Rose a daily part of your reality TV check-in, because we'll be somewhere talking about reality TV. So we appreciate you listening, and we hope God bless you this week. Bye.
Bye. Love you. Bye.
Love you. Well, I don't know if we're there with that with our listeners. We respect you, listeners. Bye.